Hello, and welcome to part 3 in the Cthulhu Bigature painting series. In this episode, we will focus on priming and explaining what a Zenithal prime is. A Zenithal prime is when you prime your figure in such a way that you lay the groundwork for light and shadow effects and mimic the sun at its zenith in the sky. You could use any color combination, but I traditionally go with the trio of black, gray, and white, depending on the overall color of the miniature I am priming. I will prime the whole figure in black, making sure to get into the shadows and recesses, then hit it with the gray from about a 45-degree angle all around the top part of the miniature, and then come back with the white and lightest color from the very top. So let's see this process in action as I condense down about 7 hours of priming into just a few moments. Using a simple airbrush and compressor combo I purchased from Harbor Freight, as well as the exceptional Vallejo black primer, I started priming the base and bottom half of this giant miniature. As you can see, I needed to move my portable light around a lot to ensure I was getting into every space and nook and cranny of this giant miniature, especially covering the texture I added in part 1 to the rock formation. As you can see, I just kept moving my light and the base around as I continued to cover the bottom half of this miniature. I then moved up to the top half of the miniature and worked on the areas where I had attached the wings and did some sculpting, making sure that all those areas were primed and no gaps were seen. And here's what the miniature looks like, completely covered in the first coat of black primer. After the black primer was dry, I left about 50% of the primer in my airbrush bottle and added in the gray tone. Giving it a good mix resulted in a nice mid-tone gray to apply from about a 45-degree angle around the upside of the miniature. Once finished from this 45-degree angle, I then went in with just a pure gray from about 90 degrees straight from the top. I thought at this point that the variation between light and dark was strong enough. However, after stepping away from the project for a few days, I realized that the lightest color was not actually light enough. So I went back in with a lighter gray mix and got into some of the finer details at the top of the figure, including the head, tendrils, shoulders, and wings to make sure that they had a strong enough highlight on them. And finally, here's a little behind the scenes peek at how I had to MacGyver a spray booth to be able to handle this bigature. I hope this video helped explain the Zenithal priming process, which could be applied to any miniature you are priming with any color scheme. As always, thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, please let me know and I'll get to them as soon as I can.